that we're still in a state of emergency. We're still at a point where flood waters are still washing roads out. We've still got flood waters that'll be rising, I think, all up till tomorrow. It won't crest till tomorrow sometime. So it's very important that, being that we're still in a state of emergency, that you stay off the roads, that we make sure that we keep you, the citizens, safe, and also that we keep our emergency service staff that is stretched thin at this point safe, and making sure that they can get to those calls that are of high priority. So whatever you can do to help our emergency staff and law enforcement and everybody who's trying to help correct this huge problem we have will be a tremendous help. At this point, I want to turn it over to our Director of Emergency Services so he can give us an update on where we are. Mr. Byrd.
Thank you, Mr. Rush. It certainly has been an unprecedented event here in Richland County. Some of our rain totals are extraordinary. We have a system that records rainfall in Richland County, and over the last day and a half, 2 days, we've gotten in one reported over 21 inches of rain. So added to the existing conditions, the saturation, you can imagine the outcome there, and we certainly saw the catastrophic events unfold. Within a 24-hour period, we received and put in the queue to respond over 2,400 emergency calls throughout the county, which you can imagine stressed our emergency responders significantly, and we're still stressed. We have utilized all of our assets for Richland County that we have, and have requested additional assets through the State Emergency Management Division. Some areas were hit harder than others. Obviously, y'all seen those areas. East over Gadsden remains in critical condition down there. We're still trying to get into some of those areas and evacuate people. Forest Acres also experienced the brunt of some of the storm. They lost their police department. We've worked closely with Chief Seeley to process incoming 911 calls. We actually have a Forest Acres dispatcher here in the EOC that's getting that data back out to the people in the responders in Forest Acres. We had initially opened 4 shelters. We are down to 2 shelters. Those are Lower Richland and St. Andrews Middle School. We closed the other shelters due to a drop in water pressure. We moved those people that were sheltered to our St. Andrews Middle School shelter. So we still have 2 shelters open, and I think last night we had about 150 people still in those shelters. Evacuation of the residents that are still isolated because of road or bridge or water is an ongoing event for us, so that's a priority to get to everyone and find out exactly what type of assistance that we can provide to them. The Comet bus system, we've utilized that to move evacuees out of areas, and used them last night to move to an additional shelter. We have all the agencies that have responsibility in the cities and the counties here, or in close contact. We're coordinating all of the requests that we're receiving immediately up to the State Emergency Management Division. Some of those requested assets will take a while to get here. They may come from other parts of the state or even the southeastern United States. So we are still in the emergency response mode. As we transition from emergency response into the beginning of a recovery phase, we will be looking at providing additional resources, not only to our first responders but to the public, setting up distribution points for supplies and that kind of thing. We will hopefully have those points of distribution set up very shortly. Some of the things that still concern us, obviously, is The water pressure issue around the city is working on that as hard as they can to fix. We want to make sure that water is restored to residents, but also our critical infrastructure such as hospitals. That is a priority, and we're working on that. So that's kind of a brief overview of where we are. Sheriff Lott.
Last night we had a curfew from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and it was very successful, so we appreciate the cooperation from all of our citizens. We'll make a determination probably early this afternoon if we'll ask for the curfew to be renewed, and that'll be for the city and the county. So it's a good possibility we'll extend the curfew. It is still dangerous out there, so we're still asking people, don't be spectators, stay home. Stay home. We don't need people riding the roads. We do have roads that are crumbling at this point, so it is still too dangerous to get out there and ride around. We've got some very high level of water in various places, so it is dangerous. So we don't need people riding around taking pictures and just being a spectator, so please stay in. We've got search and rescue teams that's been out now for about 2 hours. We've broken Richland County up into different sections, and we've got search teams out that are going house to house, checking all vehicles and all homes and marking them that they've been checked, and then evacuating people if necessary. We've got the fire and law enforcement that's formed these teams. We've got other teams that are out in the county now doing various checks. Eastover, Gadsden, and Hopkins area is still a major concern. We've got teams that have been on the way there, so they should be arriving soon to help out in that area. We still have some pockets that we haven't been able to get to. We're still having to use boats, and there's also some aircraft to help us out. But we've got a lot of resources. We've got a lot of requests from different agencies across the United States that's asking they come in. We're managing those resources, so far that we've been able to manage them pretty well. But it's an ongoing situation. I don't know if the worst is over yet, so we've got to prepare that there still could be some more bad things happening, so we're doing that. But again, probably the main thing from the law enforcement end is that if someone is missing, we need you to call 911 and give us as much information so we can start searching. We have teams that are ready to do those type searches, but we need people to stay home. We don't need people out on the roads. It's still dangerous, and that's going to interfere with emergency services out here responding.
I think that Mr. Byrd and the sheriff really said it all as to what's going on out there. We will continue to support and be active in whatever the county, as well as sheriff on us out of our department. So one critical thing that Mr. Byrd did mention was about the hospitals. We did get a request last night from the hospitals to provide water for their children so that they can keep the hospital at a cool temperature. So at this point, we are providing water to them. We have several different agencies in town from other departments who are bringing in water from outside source from our hydrants outside of the city because, as you know, the pressure in the city is low. So we are providing those to 3 hospitals, Richland Memorial, Baptist, and also Providence. Not sure how long we can sustain that. Obviously, we'll sustain it as long as we can. But I just want to reiterate that it is still dangerous out there. We have first responders, which law enforcement, fire, EMS, all these folks are responding out to these calls. And we're just asking people to stay away from these bad areas, because if you go out there and you get involved in a bad area, we got to come get you if you're out there unnecessary. So we just want to make sure that when we do respond to stuff, there's people who are really out there in need. Not saying you're not in need, but if you can kind of stay off the road, stay home, that'll really help us out, and it kind of reduce not only the stress on you, but also keep in mind that those that are responding, they have a level of stress as well. So again, I say thank you to the media for just covering this and giving us an opportunity to kind of talk about what's going on. Thank you.
I also wanted to make mention that we do have some council members that are stranded as well. I've talked to several of the council members, and they're going through the same things you're going through as citizens. I am joined by a couple of my colleagues here, Councilman Manning, Councilman Rose, and Councilman Jackson as well. Anybody?
Yeah. Morning, and thanks to our emergency preparedness and our sheriff for stepping up to help out with the situation. The citizens of the Lower Richland community is still in a critical position. I spoke to Councilwoman Dixon and Councilman Washington, who some places there's no light or water. What even worse, they cannot have access to come to Columbia. The road is out. Part of Bluff Road is out. Councilman Washington, he can't make it to Columbia. So in a lot of situations where people may not have water and would like to travel to Columbia, they can't make it. Thanks to some of the businesses, Lower Richland High School is one of the shelter, and some of the businesses will be preparing meals at those shelters. Mobay or Montego Bay restaurant will be delivering hot meals to the shelter also to help. So thanks to the business community for stepping up to the plate and helping in this critical situation. Again, thank you.
I think we'll open up for questions at this time.
What's the situation with National Guard, State Guard, that's all Coast Guard helicopter in Columbia?
We've got National Guard assets. We've got assets from the Army from Fort Jackson. We've got the South Carolina State Guard that's helping also. So all of our military partners are providing personnel and equipment. So really there's not anything that we have needed that we have not been able to call and get, and they've come quickly.
Any idea how long the extensive efforts will go on?
No, as long as this takes, and we're preparing for at least 10 days right now, at least 10 days, and that's probably a low estimate.
A count of those.
A few of the major ones, maybe you could name them?
We'll get that. We'll get that for you.
Okay.
Obviously, considering what we've just dealt with, all of the dams will be evaluated through DHEC and the Corps of Engineers to make an assessment on the integrity of each one of them. We did get reports that some dams broke and water was coming out when in fact the dam didn't break, it was just coming over the top. So as the water receded a little bit, that stopped. But we do have several trouble areas that we will monitor and look at to make sure, and that's part of what the sheriff was saying. This is going to be a long-term effort, not only on dams, but roads and bridges and other critical infrastructure as well. All that will have to be assessed. It's going to take a while.
Say any specifics, because we've gotten a number of queries about the Giles Creek watershed area, drainage area. Forest Acres.
Sure. Forest Acres was very, very hard hit.
Because of dam overflows?
Yes, Jim Manning, Richland County District 8, went out the Cary Lake Dam is broken. The dam that Rockbridge Road goes over, that road has been washed out. Those are two that I know for sure. Shorebrook, which is the next major one going down Gills Creek, it is still standing at this point. It was not breached, but it looks like it has a great deal of damage that will need assessed.
Lake Catherine, anybody know about that?
I don't know about that.
We'll find out.
And do you know how many people are without homes where they've had their apartments or single-family residences flooded and they've had to leave?
No, sir. We don't have that number. That's part of what we're trying to ascertain right now through our assessment.
But there are at least dozens, would you say?
Oh, there are hundreds,
Hundreds.
maybe thousands.
Do you have a number of the amount of people in the shelters at this point?
154, I believe, is what we had, somewhere around that last night in 2 shelters. So we have plenty of shelter capacity at this point.
Do you think people are living with their families or extended families
yes.
or relatives
I
or friends?
did friends and neighbors and family, yes, sir.
I saw on City of Columbia side, by the Gervais Street Bridge, that the State National Guard were dropping sandbags off, and they said that they were reinforcing the dike. Do you know, is there any damage or any risk there if that goes?
I would say that that would probably be a question that's better asked of the water department in the city of Columbia. That's what's going on down there at the plant. I do want to say that in regards to people being displaced, there were a number of rescues that were done yesterday by first responders, by law enforcement, by EMS, and by fire to get people out of apartment complexes, out of homes. So, and like they said, that's going to be an ongoing endeavor to make sure that everybody's out safe. But again, I would direct that question as far as the water plant to the city of Columbia.
We're very shortly going to have 2 water distribution points. We're looking at Lower Richland High School and Richland Mall. They're not set up yet. We're in the process of getting those set up, but people will be able to go to both of these places and obtain fresh water. And as soon as that's available, we'll get
Sheriff,
that out.
will they need to bring their own container? What do the citizens need to know to come to get those water distribution points?
Right now, I think we'll be furnishing the containers for them. I don't believe they'll have to bring anything.
Any idea on, because you said the water, the hospitals, we don't know how long that can be sustained. The city was saying 3 to 4 days. You guys don't have any idea on how long we're actually looking at before people get water back?
No, again, I think that would be a water department, city of Columbia question. We're going to continue to provide the water to the hospitals as long as we can sustain it. And we just don't know how long we can sustain that at this point. I do know that there has been some increased pressure in the water system, but it can go back out at any time, so, but I do know that.
I'm sorry, Sheriff, I want to get this out there as quick as possible. I said Richland Mall and Richland Northeast High School?
No,
Lower Richland.
Richland Mall and Lower Richland High School.
The Congaree Riverkeeper reported just this morning that the Columbia Canal breached, which is, I think, a significant drinking water issue if that's the case. Have y'all heard that? Can you address that?
I don't really have anything on.
The city of Columbia is working at that as we speak. It is still intact and it hasn't crumbled all the way.
Okay.
They are working on it.
I do believe that, I don't know if you got, I think they are going to be discussing that sometime today.
Okay.
Later on, I think a press conference is being called to discuss that later on today. I'm not sure what time though.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions? I do want to say that we've been reached or contacted by a lot of individuals and companies that are interested in helping. We will be distributing that information on how you, as we transition past today into a recovery phase, we'll be distributing that information on how you can provide water or whatever resources you're looking to provide. So. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.